Eric, we're on scene of a breaking shooting where 2 police officers have been shot and killed this morning. Right now, we're on the east side of Murrow, just north of Hickman, and behind me, that is where the 2nd police officer was shot at Murrow Road and Sheridan Avenue. There does appear to be a police car with possibly 3 bullet holes in the side door. The vehicle does say Sergeant on the side. This is what we know. Just after 1 a.m., officers responded to investigate reports of shots fired in the area of 70th and Aurora. The first officers to arrive found an Urbandale police officer who had been shot. Des Moines police officers responded to assist. Just before 1:30 a.m., a Des Moines police officer was found shot at the intersection of Murrow and Sheridan, where we're currently on scene. Both officers have died. The shootings appear to be an ambush-style attack.
We're following breaking news right now. 2 officers have been shot and killed overnight.
We're anticipating a news conference in just the next minute or two. Actually, let's go right to it right now.
Yeah, this is shortly after 1 o'clock. The law enforcement community here in the Metro Des Moines area lost 2 officers. It started about 1:05 in the morning in Urbandale. Officers responded to reports of shots being fired in that area. The first officers to arrive on the scene found a police officer, an Urbandale police officer, still seated in his vehicle, and he'd been shot and killed. About 20 minutes after that, officers were in the area attempting to help the Urbandale officers figure out what had happened, see if we could identify a suspect. One of our Des Moines officers found a Des Moines police officer seated in his vehicle at an intersection. He'd also been shot. He was transported to Methodist Hospital, where he died shortly after that. In all appearances, it looks just like that these officers were ambushed. On the surface right now, just like I said, we're just a few hours into this. It doesn't look like there was any interaction between these officers and whoever the coward is that shot them while they sat in their cars. That's the best we got that we can explain the scene right now. Both of them were in their cars. There's clearly a danger if you're a police officer. These guys were gunned down, sitting in their car, doing nothing wrong. So there's definitely some danger out there. There's somebody out there shooting police officers. We hope we find him before anybody else gets hurt. We definitely don't want anybody in the public or in the community to get hurt. But there is a clear and present danger to police officers right now.
Recapping an overnight of just incredible, there's a tense situation out there across the city of Des Moines, as Sergeant Parizek said. There's somebody out there shooting police officers right now, and they are nervous. They are trying to get to the bottom of this situation that all unfolded just after 1 o'clock in Urbandale, and then again at 1:25 in the city of Des Moines. The police being ambushed with no interaction, we believe, at this point with whoever the suspect is involved in. At this point, they don't know who the suspect is. Ray, we've been to several police news conferences over the years, and most of them are just the facts and putting forward what they want police to know. This one just plain felt different. You could feel the passion. Every question that was answered, there was emotion in Sergeant Parizek. What did it feel like there in the room?
You know, it was very intense, Eric. It was something that you kind of have to sit there and take in and kind of consume. You can obviously see that Parizek was upset. He had tears in his eyes. It's hard for him to talk about, and it's hard to listen into, to be honest.
Also, Urbandale High School and actually all Urbandale schools are closed this morning because of the ongoing investigation. At this point, we don't know a suspect description. We expect something coming up here in just a matter of minutes, maybe, from the Des Moines Police Department. They want to get this information out there because someone is on the loose in Des Moines, and they want to track this person down. Officers are working in teams right now because they are scared for their safety.
Absolutely, saying they're in clear and present danger right now. We have received no information at this point on a suspect or possible suspects. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, it has been a very rough year for Des Moines police. So remember the 2 officers who were killed in this fiery crash you're looking at video of on I-80 near Waukee. They were hit by a drunk driver going the wrong way as they were transporting a prisoner back to Des Moines. The department mourned the deaths of Officer Carlos Puente Morales and Susan Farrell. And we have just received new information about a suspect in these cases.
This is what we've been waiting for all morning. This is from the Des Moines Police Department. 46-year-old Urbandale resident Scott Michael Green is being sought by investigators this morning. Green is 5'11", 180 pounds with brown hair and green eyes. That's a picture of the suspect that Urbandale and Des Moines police have just sent us within the last couple of minutes. This coming from Sergeant Paul Parizek of the Des Moines Police Department and Sergeant Chad Underwood of the Urbandale Police Department. Essentially, think of it as an all-points bulletin across central Iowa. Police officers have been doubled up for hours now as they go door to door with their weapons drawn at times, trying to figure out exactly what's going on here.
And you are looking live right now at the two scenes. The first scene on the right side of your screen, 70th and Aurora. This is right near Urbandale High School. This was the scene of the first shooting just after 1 o'clock this morning. An officer shot and killed inside their vehicle there. The word went out. Des Moines police responded to try to help Urbandale in this investigation. As they're responding, 20 minutes later, they discover one of their own. The second scene you see there, Murrow and Sheridan, was shot and killed, shot inside their vehicle, transported to the hospital, and passed away at the hospital. This is the man that they say is responsible, they believe. Scott Green, you're seeing his picture on the screen here.
He is wanted by police. He was last known to be driving a blue 2011 Ford F-150 pickup with Iowa license plate 780YFR. That truck has a silver-colored topper with a ladder rack, and officers across the state are looking for him. He is believed to be armed and should be considered dangerous. The police say if he is seen, do not approach Green, but call 911 and share his location.
Out of the way, we parked right down the street on Holcomb and trying to stay out of the way.
We want to get away from Tommy because we understand Sergeant Paul Parisic is now at the podium.
Obviously, we got together a little bit earlier than we had originally planned. We've had some developments in the case. We have identified a suspect. I think you all have his name and the descriptive information about him, including the vehicle that he's driving. Our detectives are looking to speak with Mr. Green right now. We think that he's got some information that's pretty critical to us closing this case out. We can't go into great detail right now, but he's definitely somebody that we want to talk to. It's, you know, imagine that you lost a friend or a family member. You know, I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. You know, very helpless feeling at times, but you know, the sorrow that comes with it is just as if you lost someone close to you. I mean, these were our friends. They are our coworkers, but you know, we've discussed at length at times, you know, the family of law enforcement. And like Sergeant Underwood just said, we're a very tight-knit community. Des Moines is not a big city. You know, we all know each other. So, I mean, we're heartbroken. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
It has now been 7 hours since 2 police officers have been killed in the city of Des Moines while sitting in their squad car, and it is still raw. They're trying to process the scene, trying to process the emotions, and trying to seek this person who they are looking for really across the nation now.
Yeah, they said they sent out this information, the suspect description nationwide. They have no idea where he is at this point. We're also now hearing from witnesses for the first time this morning. Take a listen.
You know, you read about these things happening around the country. It just, when it's right in front of your house, it's scary. It's sad to think we live in this day and age, and to have things like this happening right in our own communities.
Well, I had a couple of police officers come this morning. They were the most polite, the most, I mean, we've got a good police force. We do. So it's tragic.
And that's the thing, there are 51 members of the Urbandale Police Department, and this impacts any department, but especially one in a kind of a medium-sized department. Everyone knows everybody, and this really hits hard.
You know, this all happened, of course, in darkness and in rain, and then as the sun has come up to kind of see these scenes really emerge in the daylight. And Tommy Clark has been out at the scene of what we believe to be the second shooting along Murrow Road. And Tommy, what are you seeing right now there?
Elizabeth, we're on the east side of Murrow in the church parking lot just north of Hickman. And behind me, the squad's car still sits that we believe the police officer was sitting in when he was shot at. If you look close at the car, there are multiple bullet holes in the door, and we believe that the actual window was shattered out of that vehicle. The door is still ajar from when we arrived here about 7 hours ago.
We've seen so many, we've all experienced it. We've checked social media, we've watched TV, we've seen the scenes out there, but we're all feeling so helpless, and everybody's wondering what we can do. We caught this moment within the last hour out in Urbandale at the scene. Just watch what happened.
I can't even imagine. This is the only thing I know.
how to help is to feed. And I want you guys to be hydrated and not be hungry. And I want you to go home to your families because I want my dad to come home to me. And I want my friends to come home to me. And I'm sorry. And I'm here for you all. I don't know how else to help or what else to do.
Your prayers are all with you.
Thank you. And I will be praying. Please go home to your family.
People don't know what to say. They don't know what to do.
Just an example of how shaken people are and how meaningful that small gesture can be. We've received word in the last half an hour that a suspect has now been arrested in this case. Scott Michael Green was taken into custody in Dallas County. We do know he is now in custody. He was taken into custody in Dallas County, and that is where KCCI's Kim St. Ange is now. She is on the phone with us live. And Kim, what can you tell us that you've seen out there so far?
So I can tell you that Scott Green was taken into custody this morning shortly after 9 o'clock. The area where I am right now is a pretty remote area, about 2 miles south of Redfield. So we're north of I-80, south of Redfield, in kind of a wooded area. So right now I'm looking at about a dozen or more law enforcement vehicles that are lined up on this gravel road. I'm told that Scott Green has since been taken away from this particular area, but officials have not yet confirmed where he is at this point.
And we really didn't know much about Scott Green other than he was an Urbandale resident, 46 years old. But we do want to check in with Marcus McIntosh now. He is live outside of Scott Green's house. And Marcus, what can you tell us?
And we're at this location. We're going to show you more of the house because this is where we're told the suspect lives. And we spoke to a number of people living in the area. We spoke to a neighbor across the street who tells us they are simply shocked and saddened by what happened, especially the fact that, the suspect thought to have killed 2 police officers who lives right across the street from them. That
is where Kim St. Ange is. She is where the suspect was taken into custody, reportedly. This is kind of a rural area, and Kim is live on the phone with us. And Kim, give us an update.
Yeah, guys, so this is a rural area here about 2 miles south of Redfield, where we are right now, a gravel road. This is actually called G Trail. Take a look. I'm looking at about a dozen or more law enforcement vehicles that are out here right now. We are hearing that a person called into Dallas County and said that they saw a person matching the suspect, Scott Michael Green's description, shortly after 9 o'clock this morning, that he was in this area on foot. That's what triggered this large amount of law enforcement vehicles to swarm this area right now. Within the last 15 or so minutes, we've seen several vehicles to the left now in this field area that you can actually see some of those tire tracks that have been going through there and combing through that area. I'm told that there is a home as well as a barn that you may be able to see there in the distance right where this all happened. But again, this is a pretty rural area north of I-80 and just south of Redfield where this whole thing happened.
We did get some video in from someone who said that they got actual pictures of a not necessarily a confrontation, but an interaction between Scott Green maybe being loaded into a vehicle. Let's take a look at that and show you what exactly unfolded there. Okay, this is actually Scott Green being taken to the hospital in that Dallas County ambulance. You can see escorted by Iowa State troopers. This all unfolding in just the last handful of minutes. This is over at Mercy Medical Center in Des Moines, and you see a person being taken out on a stretcher. You see police, several gathered around there, watching very closely as he's taken into Mercy Medical Center here in Des Moines. All this unfolding in just the last handful of minutes here in the metro.
It'll be interesting to hear just what the circumstances were when he was taken into custody that led to him then potentially needing to go to the hospital.
What has changed since we last spoke was Scott Michael Green was found in Dallas County. It's my understanding he was found near the 100-mile marker of Interstate 80 off on a rural gravel road. The conditions that he was taken into custody, as they explained to me, was he flagged down an employee of the DNR, presented his ID to that employee, and asked that employee call 911. That employee did that. Deputies from the Dallas County Sheriff's Office and troopers from the Iowa State Patrol responded. Mr. Green was taken into custody without incident. He did complain of some kind of flare-up related to an existing medical condition, so he's been taken to the hospital just as a precaution. The officers that were involved in this site were ready to identify those folks. On the Des Moines Police Department side, That was Sergeant Anthony Beminio. He goes by Tony, and he's been with us since 2005. He had some prior service at another local police department prior to that. He was promoted last year. He's a great guy in this department, a good friend to a lot of us, a fantastic family man. It's just really hard to lose Tony. Chief McCarty will speak a little bit about the Urbandale officer killed. I'll give you his name, is Officer Justin Martin. It's my understanding he's been an employee of the Urbandale Police Department since 2015. Unfortunately, we've got some experience in this. We went down this road in March with Carlos and Susan. I think we saw then that we had one heck of a great support system in place with our peer support team that we have within the department. There were some resources from Red Cross that they shared with us with debriefings. The other agencies reached out. The city has a program in place, obviously through EAP. There's a lot of things there in place to help us when we need this.
The fallen officers, Des Moines Sergeant Anthony, better known as Tony Beminio. He's been an officer since 2005 with the Des Moines Police Department. He was an officer also on the schools with East and Roosevelt, and was most recently in robbery homicide. He was a school resource officer with East and Roosevelt, and again then was serving robbery homicide. And Sergeant Prezek said he was very popular, a solid officer. The second one, Urbandale Police Officer Justin Martin, approximately 24 years old, had just joined the force in 2015. We are learning more about the shooting suspect, Scott Green. Green was from Urbandale, and we have confirmed that what you are about to see is a video posted by Green himself showing a confrontation he had with police at a recent high school football game after he brought a Confederate flag to the game and waved it in front of some of the people in the stands. Take a listen.
It's in the stands. So we're asking you to leave.
Have I committed a crime?
We're asking you to leave. You just don't.
Have I committed a crime?
Yeah.
Everything from the get-go has been recorded, sir.
Have I committed a crime?
You're on private property, you're on school property, we're asking you to leave at this time.
You're causing disturbance in the stands.
Now, of course, there has been an outpouring of support for law enforcement across central Iowa. We now go to Marcus McIntosh, who is live in Urbandale for more on that. Marcus.
That's right, Molly. A huge outpouring of support here at the Urbandale Police Department where we are live. I'm going to get out of the way so you can see the memorial set up for Officer Justin Martin. In the time we've been here, it started raining. It makes it kind of matches the mood of everyone here. Sad, very heartfelt, very emotional time here at the Urbandale Police Department. There you see the front of the car basically covered with flowers. We've seen people of every age, young and old, coming up to pay their respects.
You have two separate charges of murder in the first degree. Each charge carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Your bond is set at $5 million, cash only, each charge, total of $10 million.
Green is suspected in the early morning slayings of Des Moines Police Sergeant Anthony Beminio and Urbandale Police Officer Justin Martin. The men you see in red shirts surrounding Green in the courtroom, we're told that's called a utility response team. Because Green is considered a high-risk inmate, that team will surround him anytime he is out of his cell.